getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate, separate and segregate. Don't celebrate quite yet, the storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate. The values of our country and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate, marching on these streets of blood.
Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
I'm Steve Morris.
How you doing, Steve?
I am sweating. It's humid. I didn't put the air conditioner in, but I thought for sure, because it was in the 60s last night, that it would not feel like it does up here right now.
It's warm, but it could be worse. It's been colder up here where it was uncomfortable, and so, I mean, it could be worse. I'm one that complains about heat, you know, when it's too hot too, obviously, but yeah, it's not too bad. If we had a fan in that window, it'd probably be good, but
Yeah, you think that would be a cross breeze, but it's not really.
no.
Like once the storm moves in, the wind kind of stops.
It's raining.
It is raining. It has been for the past
Month straight, pretty much.
Just need it to rain every other day.
At this point, it's raining enough for the rest of the freaking summer, winter, fall, whatever. Like, so as people have noticed, we hadn't had a show in, is it 3 weeks today or was today? I think it's 3 weeks. No, it might have been a month today.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I know. Steve was getting testy with me. He was like, what the hell, we haven't done a show. And so,
I just figured it was a comment I made at some point.
nah, it's just, no. I've been doing the job at the school, which has kept me extremely busy. And I feel like I'm ahead of schedule, but I want to keep it that way because my plan is to be done before I go on vacation in August. So I want to, and then we have a hard deadline, obviously, like school starts at the end of August. And so I want to make sure it's well before that. So I've been really pushing through on that. So it's hard to find time to do, but I'm like, all right, Steve, we got to do a show. It's been a while. It's a long while. So, was it Saturday? Saturday I did the ride that Alan does for his sister every year. I think this is the fourth one. She has Huntington's, and so a couple years back, he said, like, hey, let's do a bike ride, a motorcycle ride, not bicycle, motorcycle. And I was like, all right. And at that point, we were all in a club, bike club, whatever, which doesn't, I don't know, it broke up or whatever. I quit before that because I just didn't have time because I've got so much stuff going on. But I still like riding here and there. And so obviously, you know, Alan's our buddy, like, going to do this ride. And it was actually nice. I think it was, I bet there was close to 25 bikes. I think I originally said 20, but I think there might have been close to 25. And it was on this past Saturday, and we left at 10 o'clock, and we got back just before the rain, and it was actually really, really nice. Went out 120 through Plainfield, you know, Cornish, Plainfield, then went up, then took 4A back all the way to Andover, and then back around, and it was actually really nice little break of, like, the weather was good during that period of time, and if you were standing out there and the sun was out, it was like, oh man, it's really hot. But it was a nice ride, and Kevin Onella did the ride with us, and he said, hey, what do you get to sponsor your show, whatever? And I said, well, I haven't done a show in a while, normally, you know. And he's like, I got to get you a sticker. He's like, he wanted to put a sticker on the computer. So I was like, all right, well, now I've finally we've done a show, and hopefully we can start do at least once a week. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I really like Kevin. He doesn't do the show on not WCNL anymore. I didn't get into a lot with him, but it was getting to be too tough for him, I guess, for like just personal reasons or something. Which I said, man, I miss listening to you on there because I really like, you know, when you go on there, and the selectmen have that slot now, which I think it's good that the selectmen have a thing where they go on the radio and talk about stuff going on. I just, you know, wish Kevin was still doing it, but I get it. Trust me, me and you've both done this before, where we're doing a show every day and we're like burning out because we just keep seeing so many negative, horrible things that
Yeah, it's a
and we're
lot of
just like-
negativity.
yeah. So we're like, no, let's. I get it. It's tough sometimes. So in the last month, what have you been up to?
Well, I've got the garden going.
See that looks good.
Yeah, there's a few little spots. I took the weed eater because kind of like in between each row, it's getting kind of grassy, but there's also a lot of rocks I still need to pick up. So anyway, I killed a couple plants with rocks, like breaking them,
Oh,
flying
shooting
off
them,
of the. So
Oops.
luckily, I have all those tomatoes. I still have a lot of tomatoes. If anybody needs,
They have
any.
to plant.
Yeah.
Really?
Remember, I brought that tray over 2 weeks ago and shared with everybody that was at your house, anybody that would take any, and I still have. And I can't. It feels bad to like toss them. So if nobody writes you and says, "Hey, I'll take them," I'll throw them somewhere. I'll just walk around the property and wherever there's a patch of sunlight, just plant them because, might save somebody's life someday. 100 years from now in the future, some wild tomato bushes grow and save somebody on the apocalyptic landscape of New Hampshire.
Well, I haven't been able to do my garden this year. Is literally like a flower bed in front of my house that I have like 2 tomato plants. I think there's 2 eggplant, a pepper plant, jalapeno, which I guess the eggplant, Lydia said the other day, is like 4 or 5 on there that they're short, but they're getting fat. So I think they said they're a mini eggplant. So I'm thinking that's probably what they are. So when those bad boys are ready, I'll have to bring them over to your wife who made me some eggplant parmesan. Oh man,
I fertilized mine because mine are like this big. I was like, come on, I need you to catch up to Tim's 5-month-old eggplant that he
it's crazy.
bought at Home Depot.
yeah, I bought at Home Depot and I was like,
I went after you said that and looked. There were some pretty big.
there was the pepper plant I bought had a pepper on it already.
I believe it. They had some.
So I was like, hey, I'm gonna take those, and so, I'm obviously very disappointed because that's what I have for garden this year. I was hoping to have like I did last year, like had a nice big garden and stuff, and time is just not permitting, but that's fine. So I have a few things, but then I was down to the barnyard. Of course, all it's wet because all it does rain, but anyways, last year, I think it's Spring Ledge Farm in New London. I bought a thing of pumpkins, little pumpkins, like for pies, whatever, the small ones. I don't know, a whole crate of them, and threw them into the cows and the pigs, and all. It was great. I loved it. They paid like $50 for it. They loved eating them. Loved it. They just had a great time. Well, obviously the seeds have been in there, so it has to be a pumpkin from all I can think of. But it's right on the edge of my fence is a pumpkin plant growing. It's good size. And so I told everybody, I'm like, listen, don't pick it. It's not a weed. And see, it'd be pretty cool. I mean, because literally it's coming right out of the ship pot, like, where they, so
That's awesome.
we'll see. Like, maybe I'll get lucky and we'll get some pumpkins out of it, which would be pretty neat. But, so obviously I'm disappointed I didn't get.
I mean, that's a real cycle of life.
Yeah. Think about that was the fall, too. So it went through the winter and, like,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, cool. This happened in one of my piles out back a couple years ago. I went down, I'm like, stuff growing in it, and it was like gourds, which is kind of weird because I didn't have gourds at any point, I didn't think, but who knows, between the stuff they ate, or I don't know, but it was kind of cool. I mean, obviously, gourds are kind of just to look at anyways, but we took and just fed them back to them, pigs loved it.
I got a couple of gourds out there growing. Well, the plants, they're looking good.
Nice.
So
I think what's going to happen, like if this weather breaks, which I don't know about that, but if we could get like a week of sun, man, your garden would probably just explode. I mean, just
well, I already had to. So there are a few tomato plants. Like Runnings always has heirloom weird peppers and tomatoes, so I like to go there and because it's not like normal seed catalog stuff. So anyway, there's a few tomatoes out there that are already producing. I had to stake them before I, because I do the weave method.
Yeah.
And so the rest of them aren't really. Now, if we get a day or two of sunlight, I'll have to go out there and weave it this week because some of, like the hybrids that I planted are probably too. I mean, they're tall, but they're pretty sturdy right now. They don't have a lot of
Right.
foliage on them to make them catch wind and fall over. They're like growing perfectly,
Nice.
as hybrid seeds promise to do. As the scientists have taken out all the nutrients, and I don't know. I'm just kidding, obviously, but I try to grow mostly heirloom, and these are my non-heirloom, genetically modified tomatoes, and they're looking good. Like 4 times the size of all my other ones.
So we went yesterday. We went to Hole in One Diner in the morning for breakfast, which actually had a burger, which is actually really good. And then I feel bad because like we've been trying to fireworks, been trying to do that with Adelina. Saturday we're gonna go to Croydon. Was doing a home day kind of thing, and got canceled because obviously it rained. Shocking. So which Newberry managed to get theirs in. Saw people put pictures.
I
up,
heard
so-
a bunch of them going off Saturday.
So I was like, all right, we're going to go blueberry picking. And so go up the Bascom Road, Blueberry Farm. And the weather is kind of like, I'm like, so I get there and she's like, can we pick our own? And she's like, yeah, there's some, like, because it's like close, but not quite.
Yeah,
And-
it's not quite.
But I was like, if you just have one bush somewhere that's got a couple, just to make Adelina happy, like, because I feel like I've been disappointing her lately because every time I want to do something.
You're like, for the love of God,
Yes,
man, just let me
please.
walk around a bush.
Just yeah, please, whatever. So he has a greenhouse up there that's got tomatoes. Those tomatoes are probably as high as a camera base over there.
Wow.
And like he said, they're not growing like he'd like, but he's got rows of them. So we want to go back up at some point, maybe this coming weekend, or we're gonna wait a little bit just so that stuff kind of. We got a bucket of them. But they weren't as blue. Blue is normal. Normally they'd be better than my bushes, which I got from him. The bushes he had, they must be many years old then, because mine were like 7-year-old ones when I got them, and they've got blueberries. But his blueberry bushes have like, you can get pints of them off one bush if they're all, ripe and stuff. It was like holy cow. But you should go up with us and check out his greenhouse. It's got the tomatoes. They're kind of like they're tall, and they got tomatoes on them, and I was impressed.
He trim them down and then.
I don't know. I didn't really ask him. I just said they look good, and he was like, it's all right. But I think because of the weather, it's pretty cool.
Interesting.
I think if we get a break this week, too, I want to go over to Beaver Pond and do raspberries. And I wanted to do strawberries. I meant to do that with Adelina and stuff, but Andrea's pregnant, and it was like, that didn't work. And then, so we did have the baby. Well, I don't say we, my wife had the baby. So on July 2nd, Abriella Sydney Beard was 6 pounds, 11 ounces, 19.5 inches long.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. She's healthy. I was a little nervous, though, when she was first born. Like, the best sound that can happen when a baby's first born is the screaming, because they're alive and well. And she was kind of just quiet, laying on her
High
chest.
five,
and,
Jim. Was like, what's up?
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, 9 months in's been rough. No. So, but she was healthy and stuff. She kind of cried a little bit after, but she was just kind of chilling. And I was like, I like when, baby first comes out screaming, because, it's a good sign, right? And
I mean, I've had one child, so
Yeah. No, it's good when that happens. But I was like, come on, why don't you
Born
scream?
via C-section. My wife was talking about the Muppets or something. She was pretty doped up.
I bet, yeah.
And I just remember, like, as a new father, it's like your whole life changes. You mature, at least I did. My personal experience was like an immediate maturity. Don't get me wrong, I'm still immature, but like certain things that I could just let you know that your life no longer is dedicated only to your selfish, as we're all allegedly driven by our egos. But anyway,
Lately, it's just been tough. Like,
I can relate.
Yeah, I told Andrew yesterday, I was like, I feel bad because, like, I pretty much just work. Like, and I didn't want to get back to that, but I'm kind of like stuck in that.
You.
Because I used to have all this free time, and now it's just, that's all I really do is work. And then when I get home, it's like I have so many things I need to do. Like, I still have the excavator, I think, until the middle of this week. So I went out back. I started to, like, maybe Friday or late last week. I was like, all right, I just screw with the logger. Apparently isn't coming back anytime soon. And some of to his defense, it literally just rained
Yeah,
and rained. I only have a few more trees that really need to come down, so I'm hoping like, hey, you know what, if you just like Wednesday, it looks like maybe it don't rain. Like, you just get the few trees here, or if you're done, just be done. I don't, whatever. Just let me know because I'll take them down the excavator. I don't care. But so I was like, I went out and I started to take stumps out, and because my excavator's not going to take out some of these big stumps, and then like started to do a lot of rocks out there. Holy crap! You want to talk about rocks? Wow. I wish I had a crusher because I could probably make some serious money crush rock, but. I did a bunch. Yeah, yesterday I went out too. I've been trying a couple hours here and there, and so I can try to get some money out of this machine that's been sitting in my yard because I barely used it this whole month, all this last
with all
30
the
days.
water.
Or what. Yeah, I mean, all those rain. I mean, 5 times probably I've leveled out my. I finished my septic and I put the sand over. I'm still waiting to do the loam. Well, the sand keeps washing. I got to keep pushing it. I'm just like, I'm never gonna get a break to finish this. Like. Yeah, it's just been crazy. Like, I'm so sick of this rain. Me personally, I don't like rain anyways. Like when I went to Aruba, I think one of the things I liked about it the most is like, yeah, we went 6 years without rain. I'm like, I was in love with it right there. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. We don't need freaking rain.
You got any property for sale?
Yeah, no kidding. Anything cheap
Really,
here?
I
'Cause
like rain.
once in a while, sure.
Man, those thunderstorms you get down south, or
Hey, I love
they-
thunderstorms, but those come through. You get a nasty little storm and it's fun, and then it goes away. This hasn't gone away at all. And now this past storm, like it's really starting to get nasty. Where Ludlow, Vermont, at the bottom of Mountain Road, like to go up to a chemo, like it flooded out, like with building damage and like bad. Down in I think it was Swansea, area. Route 10's washed out. Like it's getting to the point where it's going to become a serious issue. I mean, we've already had 2 major storms where Sand Hill completely washed out. They fixed it, and 2 weeks later, it washed out again. Which
hey, my pond is filled up to the brim. It's looking good. My garden's looking good. It's not costing me any
listen, Steve,
electricity to pump water out there to it.
we say lots of things that are on the edge of.
I will not say anything negative about the rain. At this
Someone's going to kick your ass down at Shaw's. Oh, Morris, you want the rain, do you? Here.
Hey, I'll take credit for that Shaw's parking lot getting fixed 3 days after the rant on the show. I'm taking credit for that timing. You're welcome, Newport.
Speaking of the selectmen meeting tonight at 6:30, there's a rumor going around town. I won't say what the rumor is because I don't think it's going to be true. But if it is, we might come in and do a show tomorrow morning. It's just because it would be something I've been waiting for. But yeah, I'm just trying to think like update wise for the last month as far as like select board, school board. I mean, obviously we had some bunch of roads wash out with those issues. I kind of feel like I don't understand how when Sand Hill washed out the first massive, I can't say massive storm because we've had so many, but the first time Sand Hill washed out, Carroll Concrete and stuff went up and helped fix it, and because it was a big washout. And
I've seen the pictures.
yeah, then almost 2 weeks later, it wasn't quite 2 weeks later, but close, it washed out again, which makes me think, well, did the town go up and do anything to alleviate why it washed out the first time? Because they should have. And maybe they did, and
Well,
maybe it
there's
was much
so
worse.
many washouts. Like just on Blueberry Ridge, there were probably 3 or 4 areas where I can tell that they've put like a rock barrier on the high side. And they just kind of filled it in. Hopefully it'll keep it on the low side but that's the low side that I'm worried about, that the road will just collapse under me when I'm driving or something. You know what I'm talking about, where it comes
Yeah.
off high and it's collects in like a stream. There are about 3 or 4 spots down this road.
I was just surprised.
So if that's here, you got to imagine all the other valleys that.
yeah, no.
So Sand Hill is probably the picture-ready one, but there are a lot.
I mean,
So I'm not going to disparage because
let's face it too.
I know you're not disparaging them, but
No.
what you're saying is like
I was surprised.
we need some civil engineering done on these roads.
We need.
Would that be civil engineering or is that just city planning?
I don't even think you need engineering. You just need. Well, you need more workers because
Yeah, that's.
I mean,
Just to be able to spread it out.
yeah, I mean, if you just face it, if you take what we have for workers, even if we,
That's what I was getting at. Is I
Yeah.
don't think we're.
I mean, if you had double what they had, they still don't have enough
yeah,
because.
that was
But
the point I was
but some of that comes back on management and stuff too. Because why aren't you maintaining these things? Like there should be a list every year that okay, this road is now it's up for like these ditches need to be cleaned out. Like yeah, you know those things. But
No, I'm laughing because it reminded me of a South Park
Yeah.
skit, Captain Hindsight. I'm just going to start calling Tim Captain Hindsight. I agree, we do need more workers. We do, but can we afford them?
can we afford washouts?
Well, that's the rub, I guess, right? You got. I don't have the.
Croydon was saying.
I don't have the math on that. Does anybody
Well, Croydon was saying it was $1 million worth of
run
damage.
those numbers for me? Where's our producer? Tell him run those numbers real
Sorry.
quick.
No, Croydon had their washout just like we did, same day, same storm, both times, and they're estimating like $1 million in damage, which I guess it could be if you were to sub it out. I mean, I can't see how it's $1 million damage if you did the work yourself, but I can see if you subbed it out. Sure, I mean a lot of cash like, and Croydon does a good job with the 3 people they have, like, and obviously like my brother's road, which I've seen it 3 times in my life because I lived on that. It's my parents' old place where he lives, and the culvert washes out, and which I'm like, why haven't we upsized the culvert? Like there probably should be a 4-foot culvert in there, not what's in there now. And I think about those things where, and I get it. It's not the people that are doing the work; it's their budget probably and all that other stuff. But whatever. But that's all. Like that's washed out, and so I get it. But if that's $1 million worth of damage,
I think there are other roads that had some good washout because I want to say.
well, this was before this was just the storm. Like, and now look at it. I mean, Route 10, and I think it was Swansea. I've seen pictures that it's washed out.
Looks like 12 did a couple years ago.
Yeah, there's a place over towards Rutland, or Doug Ring sent me the picture. Something said that. Showed me a picture of like a mudslide, like right across the road. That whole thing in Ludlow, like that's just because lots and lots of rain. You can't predict that. You can't change. That's not ditches necessarily. Those 2 storms we had, it was like, hey, if we had bare culvert here, ditches, whatever, you probably could prevent a lot of that. But now we're at the point where if it happens, there's so much rain, you can't even predict it. You can't even, plan for it. So that's why I'm saying it needs to stop raining.
Yeah, I'm glad I put in those. I actually dug with a mid-buster because the water kind of stores. Now, the bad thing is because I still have some undulation out there in the garden. So that's why I have some bare spots, is because the water, I think, pushed the seeds off. So the seeds are probably like grow on the edge of the, if I wasn't weed eating out by the fence, because there were a couple of spots that with all this rain, it did kind of wash it, but it's also helping, it's like storing the water. If that not like storing it, but it keeps it in a trench on both sides so the plants are raised. For those that don't know what a mid-buster is, that's just what you drag behind the tractor to create the rows. I needed somebody to till it for me because I do have some rows built on top of sod, I think, that's just flipped over. So that also might be some other dead plants. I needed somebody to till. I needed somebody to run a camera through a line out there. I got a lot of work for Tim to do over here at my house. So I have to start subletting out Tim's chores over here.
You got to dig that tank up first.
Well, I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna call and have it emptied because I think it's been 2 or 3 years since I had them out here. I think about 3 years. Lived here for 5.5, 6 almost. Right, about 3 years from my 2 tanks, 3 people.
2 to 5, 3 people. Yeah, I mean you probably but depending when.
But I also have 2.
Was it pumped when you bought the place?
No, we did it the next summer.
Oh, so you did it. Yeah, you're probably technically fine, but in the second tank, they say every other. The second tank's only water, anyways. But
so like I don't need to have them empty that, or
we can look at it when it's open. Probably not, but we can look at it.
Hey, I was going to tell you though. You mentioned hole in one. What I've been up to the last month. Nikki and I did go to the French Fusion dinner on Was that Friday night?
Yeah, did you? How was
Yeah,
it?
It was good.
Yeah, they do. I believe every Friday night they're doing something. He did sushi a couple times, which that's just not my thing. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
But he, part of it almost is he's too like culinary. Like I don't know, some things I think should just be more basic.
So you're saying that you don't have the refined palate for a French fusion dinner, Tim? You want a you want like an Irish, Scottish, classic meat and potatoes, no spices dinner?
I like spices.
I'm just messing with you. But anyway, I enjoyed it. It was nice to, get some. We had beef Wellington. That was prepared. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Nikki and I
I'll have to see what they have.
had a good time.
Next, like I have to pay attention because, like I said, a couple nights with sushi, and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
I saw Mr. Wilmot there. Waved at him. He didn't wave back at me. Might not have noticed who I was.
Maybe.
Oh, I mean, not Brent, not the
Well, I figured.
his father. But I counted. I did the election with him, so I thought for sure he'd recognize me. Gave him the old Texas wave, and he just looked at me like, "Who's this clown?" Or he knew who I was and was like, "Clown."
He's like, I don't want to talk to this guy.
Exactly. He's like, "Oh God, don't come up and talk to me in the restaurant, Morris."
No, we did. Yesterday I had a burger. I just didn't care for the sauce that was on it. But other than that, the burger was great. Like, so next time I go there, I think I'm going to get a burger again because it was that good. But I'll just be like, hey, just have some mayonnaise and ketchup, whatever. Which, okay, I know it's basic, but Andrew got a quesadilla. I mean, I've never had anything that was bad, but his like skill level as a chef is like much higher than what most chefs are. Like
Well, he went, like, if you read his background, I think
Yeah.
I've talked about it on the show before,
Yeah.
but he went and provided weird food that you can't get normally for, I don't know. It's like something you'd watch in a Hollywood show where the rich people have a chef come in and prepare
Yeah.
their meal at the house.
Right.
So they're all sitting there having a dinner party, but then they have this gourmet, awesome meal cooked by the special guest chef. He was like the special guest chef.
nice.
But, it's like they would hire him to come in and do fancy dinners that you can't go and, let's go to Whole Foods and pick up some
Right.
prawns. Well, you can't get prawns or, whatever.
No, his skill level is up there. Like he's very skillful, and it's really good food. So please,
And the presentation's been great the two times
Mm-hmm.
I've been. And a lot of times that's part of the experience, just having
Yeah.
it. Like, it feels special instead of just like, going and grabbing and unwrapping a, fake burger from McDonald's, allegedly.
yeah, no, it's been good. So I was
Have to say
just
that
want
for
to make
legal
sure like
purposes.
people don't think I'm being negative. Like I'm just saying like put a few things on your menu that are just basic, like just bacon and eggs. Which I mean, there's a Newport which is bacon, eggs, and French toast. Which I mean, I guess it's closer, but
So he does have exactly what you're asking for.
yeah, probably.
That sounds actually good. Bacon, eggs, toast, and French toast.
I've had most of the stuff on his menu up there. It's for breakfast. The Caddyshack I really liked.
I had the chicken and waffles. I don't know what.
The sriracha on the how was that?
It was good.
Yeah, I haven't had that, but I've done the Newport. I've done the burrito, which is really good. The burger, like I said, I just wasn't a fan of the sauce on
And the
it.
golf course was looking good too, even though there was rain was imminent. There were still a few people out playing at 5 o'clock. I guess it doesn't get dark till 8:30.
So, anyways, yeah, if you're looking for or lunch, it's Wednesday through Sunday, 7-ish. I think it's 7 in the morning to 2. I know it's 2, but
Hole in one.
Hole in
out
one
at
up to the golf course.
Newport Golf Course.
And here's the thing: if you show up and you see all these cars, and you're like, no, not coming here because there's too many cars, and I'm not waiting. It's because people are golfing. There's not that many people in the restaurant. Yesterday was the same thing. My mind did the same thing. I'm like, really? Look at all the cars here. And there was like 2 people in the restaurant. Like,
Yeah, they're all out on the golf course.
they're out golfing. So don't let the cars alarm you and be like, oh, this place is packed. Like, no, it's probably because they're golfing. Now, right now, if there's all full parking lot and it's raining like this, okay,
They might all be in the
maybe they
restaurant
are actually eating.
drinking coffee and
Yes. But
waiting for the rain to break. I don't know if it's going to break today, though.
it's never going to break. It's never going to stop.
You're
raining.
very negative. I
Listen.
am very positive with this rain. You got to change your attitude. towards it.
After the show, I'm going to the Valleys and I'm building a freaking ark. Okay. And if you want to get on the ark with me, Steve, don't be an ass. And everyone will laugh at me until freaking 3 weeks from now when it's still raining just like this. And everyone's like, oh my God, I should have got on the ark.
I'm like, man, my tomatoes are looking good.
Yeah, as the floodwaters are coming up. Like, and another thing too, I'm like, we live up on mountains, hills, mountains, I don't know. And I tell you, it's wet enough up there, but I'm like, I just thank God every day that I don't live down low like that. Like,
Well,
man.
Nikki was driving home from work yesterday and was updating me on the status of the river. So it looked pretty high.
nah, it's not good. Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, yeah, selectmen meeting tonight. The agenda didn't have nothing really exciting. Oh, the striping thing was back on there. That'll be interesting to see what that's about. People should show up no matter what because, you know.
The striping.
Well,
Well, we had a good meeting with the Parks and Rec department. I think I thought it went all right. There's some things that looks like may not have been done properly 30 or 40 years ago. So just
no, that can't be.
I was like, hey, we just need to fix it. Like, it can't get fixed today. This is like a process. It's going to take a
But
while.
they give us their permits.
I'd have to check this morning to see if they've been delivered yet.
But this wouldn't necessarily delay the permit.
No.
Okay, that's all that matters to me.
The big thing is to find another piece of land that's suitable to replace it and ensure that the town is okay with us taking that piece, which I would say that most people probably are because we voted for the CTE.
This still makes no sense because it's on school property, not town property. So
Yeah.
it makes no
but
sense.
But that's why I'm saying there's some things to fix because they didn't do it properly when they applied for the grant and everything else. So like not everything is done properly. So that's why what you're saying is correct. However, we just got to fix it. At the end of the day, there's some stuff to fix. And after talking with the gentlemen that apparently are in charge of like this program on the state side that coordinate with because it's a federal grant. It seems like we will be able to put all of our ducks in a row. Hopefully the public understands that because things weren't done 30 or 40 years ago, that's why we didn't know about the grant immediately because they went and they pulled all this stuff. Like they have to do this.
We've talked about this.
I know. I just want to make sure that the town doesn't think to the schools like, yeah, just throw it over there on the piece of land. Because sometimes the questions that are asked are like leading questions that imply maybe that we didn't really do everything properly, but the building side of it, what's going on now, was done properly. However, they didn't see what needed to be seen because it wasn't done properly in the 80s.
Right.
And so now we got to go back and fix that, which is a kind of a timely process because it needs to be done properly, like from my perspective. And I think that the state would agree that it needs to be done properly. However, they also don't care that it wasn't done properly because of we've been doing it for like 40 years. So even though it wasn't done properly, it's like you've been doing it for 40 years and you've been getting the advantage of it since 85, however many years ago. It's 38 years. So anyway, that was, from me, I have a good feeling at this point. And you know, the select board seemed to have been on board with like making sure the CTE gets done. So I feel good that between the two boards.
Yeah, I feel
On a
like
personal note, from being on that little committee meeting space.
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, I agree with that. And this isn't this situation now was something from 40 years ago or almost 40 years ago. It has nothing to do with any of the people today. So
Yeah. It just
you can't blame Hunter for this one. You can't blame select board or anything. It's just
or school board.
this right. This is a thing.
It was just the way things were probably done, which is we're going to do this handshake. They probably talked about it, and
Well, back then too, there weren't so many. Oh, you need this,
Right.
all this bullshit they make you do now.
they call
for
that
anything.
bureaucracy. Timothy.
Right? Yeah. it should just be called bullshit, not bureaucracy. It's just ridiculous. Enough is enough.
So that's like the only update that
But CTE renovations started.
they're moving quick. The whole building,
Listen, I work in that building every day now, and the demo smoked through the demo, like smoked through it. Like I started Monday after school was done. I think I went into the building at like 9 o'clock, and cosmetology was already demoed, completely demoed. So they demoed it quick. But then since then, it's been like, and I'm not saying it's not getting done. I'm not saying that at all, because it is, and people working. But for me, I'm like, hey, I got to get this job done. And you can see what I've done there in 3 weeks with just me and Lydia. And I'm like, I expected, like, I figured the parking lot would be full every day of just crazy amounts of workers, and I haven't seen that yet. So I was like, what you guys doing over here? So, not to discourage you, but the demo went super fast. There was so many cars, like,
old narc beard over here. I'm going to put you on the committee so you can start meeting with Rodney and the Harvey guy.
I just cracked the whip on him. I'll just go into Harvey's office today and be like, why isn't this done?
Well, the updates that I have been a part of, seems like everything's
No,
going
Rodney
well.
said that things are like ahead of schedule and stuff for some of it, and it's all scheduled out, which this happens in big projects. Okay, we didn't expect the demo guys to finish
In
a week
8 minutes.
earlier. Exactly. So this is exactly what happens. I'm just a person that, like, okay, you get ahead, then let's just keep. But this isn't just me. This is like, and I have nothing to do
I
with.
mean, I'm excited
renovation
about
there,
the
but-
CTE. Like I don't want anybody who's watching this to think that there's like that I have no inside information other than I attend the meetings. And these are the things that I would brief out anyway.
I can't wait to see it.
But like we got a plasma cutter or something that's top of the line from
Hypertherm.
Hypertherm. I don't know. Are you tracking that? Like,
No, I just know Hypertherm makes plasma cutters. So
yeah. So it's like, and they're good to our school. Like Hypertherm, the company itself, and not many schools, if any, will have this piece of equipment, but we will.
nice.
So we will have our students training on state-of-the-art equipment, like right off the bat. So I don't know. That's like one example. So there are like good things that are happening. People are coming together because it really is, to me, an opportunity. Like I didn't realize how much until I had a kid that went to when we lived in Kentucky, going through their career and technical, and it was a bigger county school, so it had everything.
Right.
It was basically ITT Tech, like maybe one because I think they shut down, right? Like it was almost like they took their building and then added a few more things to it as well, to include like business and engineering, kind of like how we do. But
Right.
I mean, amazing what they were teaching these kids. Like they were graduating, going straight into decent jobs.
Oh, you look at I'd say about 2/3 of this year's graduating class completed CTE programs. So that's
I felt like it was more than that.
Yeah, it might have been
I
more.
think you're doing a Steve and underestimate, so someone doesn't
Maybe.
correct you, but it was a lot.
a lot.
Like 2/3 is probably slightly underestimated, but
No, I can't wait to see when it's done. And because I had said, okay, because I thought everything had to be done before school started, but apparently it's not the case.
no. There's
Yeah,
a whole plan.
Because I'm like, when's the greenhouse coming off? I think Rodney said like January. I'm like, January? What do you mean January? And it's kind of cold for that. But so when's the wrap up for the whole project? Is it next summer?
Yeah, that actually it might even be like at the end of that I'll have to check. I don't want to give a wrong date, and
then be like,
because
oh,
I have like
maybe.
17,000 dates in my head right now from everything. I just don't want to. But yeah, it's mostly predicted by sure.
Well, my part of the project, which is not part of that project, it's just a project in the school, will be done before school starts.
Nice.
because I'm told I have no choice. Just like 2 years ago when we did the bathroom remodel and the stuff, he's like, "This is your deadline. There's no changing it." He's figuring out the CTE, be like,
Hey, the CTE bathrooms, there shouldn't be any graffiti on the walls.
"No, there's probably plywood over the door still."
Well, there is on one of them.
Same.
When I walked around, I was like,
Same in C wing, top and bottom floor, boys' room blocked off. So all summer here, I've been using the girls' room, which I mean I don't care either way. But like, I told her, I was like, "Hey, you can take a plywood off," because I mean I just assume when you start school you're not gonna have these up. But I understand why they're up, because kids keep damaging everything, and like, yeah, we won't get into that, I guess. But
Yeah, that's a school board. It looked like that water was dripping on the inside of the window. I was like, what the heck?
oh, then maybe you'd be done with the rain, huh?
Yeah,
Starts
then
coming
I
in
would.
your house. My garage floor is getting like so much moisture. I'm getting water in there, which I'm
Yeah,
getting pissed
I don't know.
about.
Did you notice mine? I'm
Yeah.
raging
I had
about
a
that.
fan going last night, trying to like drying it up. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there was a little bit of state news too. Our friend of the show, Therese,
Yeah.
her charges were dropped miraculously after she subpoenaed the Sun King.
After Sununu was gonna have to testify, suddenly charges get dropped.
I'm telling you, I watched that video before we had her on the show, and my personal opinion is he sent a text.
Yeah.
You can watch it because we put the video on our show.
We watched it. When I was editing that thing, messing with it, like I was.
Like, it doesn't, like, to the lay person such as myself, I watch it and I'm like, this was a total setup, and that should concern everybody, no matter what your party is.
Well, there's a.
Which is why I always say I'm an independent, because I don't trust the two-party system.
Well, she has a major lawsuit, I believe. That's
Much like a lot of our famous forefathers didn't trust the two-party system.
Yeah.
Read history.
Before they change it on you again.
Hey, all I know is, did I ever tell you that I was a long-term substitute at the elementary school?
No, really?
What I always try to tell the kids is history repeats itself, because I would try to get them to go to the history section to just be interested in anything, but they all go to the graphic novel section because that's what's cool and entertaining, bright, colorful, like a comic book.
I get it. But yeah, Therese.
History repeats itself. But
It's a big lawsuit. I believe it's going to be coming down soon and she's actually given all the officers that are on that list an X amount of time to come forward, apologize, and whatever, or they're going to be.
No, I would they all need to be sued. I talk about that's
fired.
exactly what I talk about all the time is those who are in a position of authority or response, like in the military, the police. You work for the people, not for the government. You best remind yourself that whenever you wake up in the morning.
You swore an oath to the Constitution.
Yeah, you don't owe anything to select boards, school boards, anything else like governors. You owe it to the Constitution of your state and your country. Like that's what your oath is to. And sometimes I feel like people forget that they're not stormtroopers for the state, that they are supposed to be protectors of the people from the state.
Yeah.
Like the whole system was set up to protect us from the government. Like we should be assigning a digital ID to all congressmen and women, and we should be checking their bank accounts for anything over $500 or $600.
You think?
Like that. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, that's just common sense.
Those
Like,
are the only
I don't
people
even
you
know
should be checking.
Exactly. Like, why do they care what you and I do with our money?
Yeah. Well, because they think it's theirs, and they need to make sure they get their portion of it. They tell you I got my check for coaching. It's $3,000 for coaching. The check was $2,408 because apparently the government participated in coaching, so they took almost $600 of that check. The federal government, not state. No, the federal government took. Just wanted to point that out. So,
Thieves.
yeah.
I mean, right now, to me, they're thieves. They're not doing anything that we've asked them to do according to the polls, if you believe polls, the polling
Listen,
system.
Joe Blow needs to buy some more coke. So,
Hey, all I know is the most protected building allegedly on the planet, and they can't figure out whose cocaine that was. Come on, man.
you don't have to be a detective or anything. You know whose coke it was.
I can make a serious, pretty accurate guess, and yet there are still people who will call me and you a conspiracy theorist, and it's like, I could tell you this much: it's nobody in the military bringing a bag of cocaine. I mean, I'm like 99% sure. So that gets rid of all your little military advisors that come in and visit. So then you go to the visitors log, and then you're like, who here has a preponderance for use of illicit substances all over his laptop? Biden digital laptop, I don't know, Marco Polo. You can go find out anything you want to know in their own words. You don't even have to listen to a reporter. You can literally go through and search for buzzwords and find out what Hunter Biden thought about it.
Now, do you think this would violate his new probation for, the gun charges that me and you would be doing federal time for, and the tax evasion that me and you would be doing time for? You suppose that would violate that?
Well, not in his justice system that he lives in.
Special justice system.
That's why I get back to, like, somehow Americans have been hoodwinked into thinking that we're not in charge, that the government's in charge, and these people are leaders. They're not leaders. They don't lead anything. You follow them, and they'll take you off of.
You should read this book right here. It's the U.S. Constitution and Other Writings. You probably should read this.
Or the Federalist Papers.
I don't see anything in this book, and I will admit I have not read this entire book, but I don't think there was anything in here that said two-tier justice system. It's okay to sell out your country if you're Biden's or Clinton's or whatever. That's fine. I mean, Jesus, the things that the Biden family
That's
has done.
not in Section 22?
No. I mean, the things the Clintons have done don't even pale. Allegedly. They don't even pale to the things that the Bidens have done. I won't even say allegedly on that. Clintons would kill you. The Bidens would just sell your ass out, and they don't care. So, yeah. Good times.
I would just recommend to everyone that the men who wrote the Constitution were learned men, did a lot of studying, put a lot of their lives and their property and their money on the line. Most of them were younger, and they risked it all, not for somebody to be in charge of what you and I say because we hurt their feelings, because they don't understand that.
You mean they didn't do all that so we could pay a dog licensing fee?
That is the biggest ripoff ever.
That's coming up on the agenda. That was one of the things I see on the agenda.
Hey, like one of our dogs is properly licensed and the other one isn't, and now it's almost like a matter of
Allegedly.
I'm not involved in this. My name's not on the paperwork, allegedly, but there's a citizen that stood up in a meeting that inspired others, probably, but it makes sense, right? So you're going to go after a segment of the population that does, I don't know, we'll just go 50, we'll go 50% correct. So because I go and by the way, I've had veterinarians in Texas, and this was 10 years ago before, so don't anyone call me conspiracy theorist. The Texas vet, country guy, been around for a while, was like, hey, after so many years, you don't need to give your dog X, Y, and Z anymore. Like, it's not necessarily, and if anything, I find that it's detrimental over my years of experience. So to go from a vet like that to a vet that like sends all your information over to the deep state so that the chief of police can put you on blast or whatever, you know what I mean? But meanwhile, you have people who don't do anything with their dogs. They just let them run wild and don't get them vaccinated, don't put collars on them, don't leash them if they live where they need to be leashed, all dogs probably, or in a fence. So they're going to punish you because you go and you got your dog a vaccine, so they know about your dog. So they're going to threaten you and increase your charges. Meanwhile, what's happening to all these other people? Like when I grew up, if my dog got out of my yard and went and chased my neighbor's cows, my dog should be a dead dog. I will be sad that my dog is dead, but you don't let your dogs chase farm animals. Like that's how it happens. And so people are overly attached to their animals. And don't get me wrong, I love my dogs, but if I mess up and they get out and they're chasing the farmers' animals, dead. Because how do you know that that's not a coyote? How do you know that's not rabbit? How do you know it's not going to hurt it's just like a mountain lion. Well, we don't have mountain lions here. It's like
Allegedly.
a bear.
Yeah.
right? Like attacking your
Yeah.
cow. So, but people get so attached and they look at their dogs as like their babies and everything else. And I get it. Like I like my dogs, but you shoot the dog. Now, there are videos of cops all over across the country that will just shoot a dog when they walk up into a yard if it's not on a leash in front of kids and everything else. I don't agree with that.
No.
Like, that's just being an asshole cop, to me, my own personal opinion. Now, if the dog is being aggressive, I got it. But if the dog is just not on a leash, you know, you can watch videos of that, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that.
So, like, my point is Mr. Spalding made a very good point to the audience when he was like, you know, it'd be worth spending a couple $1,000s to fight this than to give you $8 for or $4.
25.
Well, that's with all the late penalties. It's not even that expensive.
No, I think it's $25 to rescue dog.
No,
License it.
I'm pretty sure it's like $4. It's not very expensive, man. It's $4, but with all the fees and everything, because you know, whenever allegedly somebody at this house might have paid, the other dog wasn't on the list for some reason, but because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's a hassle that you don't want to have. But I also understand Mr. Spalding's point, which is you're selectively punishing people who are doing the right thing, where the solution is you just kill the dog.
So,
And I'm not
You're right.
advocating.
payment. The fees are the following: dogs are $6.50, spayed, neutered, 7 months, younger, or $9 for a dog, adult intact, and if the owner is 65 or older, it's one dog is $2. So, why the hell do I got to pay less money if my dog's younger or not fixed?
Well, that's the other thing that might have upset somebody in this house is why is the town tracking my dog's junk?
When you can't fix a goddamn road, that's so
Yes,
fucking bumpy.
exactly. I got.
Yeah.
I'm getting letters and threats. When meanwhile, I got a $20,000 per user, 30-year charge for a septic system being put in per household.
Not you.
Oh, not me. Not until I run that camera down and I got to replace everything.
That's perfect. That's why I'm waiting till the end of the school job, because that'll be another check for me.
You timed it out the last 2 years. You're like, if I can get you to hold out, I have a feeling I'm going to.
I won't
Let me
work.
to
You know, when I don't
influx.
work this winter and I get to use your system here that I just replaced for like 30 grand, you know.
God, knock on wood, I hope not, because I don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah. I'm
So
trying
anyway, some good stuff going on. I just keep one eye open on everything because you never know.
Yeah.
Just remember,
School board meeting Thursday at 5 at the SAU/toll building, whatever you want to call it. I like it there. I think it's a really nice setup.
I feel like I hear better in there.
Yeah. Not some big room that I think we're going to be staying there. So I hope so, because I like it there. I think that's
Yeah, I think
A
from
much nicer
like unless there's going to be like something big coming up, you know,
Yeah.
move it. But for our normal audience, that's
yeah.
perfect size.
Because you can fit probably 30. You probably could actually get some
Yeah.
more chairs in there if you wanted. Unlike the selectman room, which, whew, that's tight in there. I mean, sometimes two people.
I mean,
show
it
up,
looks
but-
just like the select board room on the Newhart show. I mean, it looks just like it. With a little pews set up. I mean, it.
sketchy pews that aren't very steady.
Yeah,
You're
I
sitting
was
like,
I was looking at how
"Whoa."
they're.
And they
Yeah,
joke
but-
about it so because we really don't want people to come in here, and I'm kind of like, kind of believe that though in a way. Like, not saying that you necessarily, but like, you know, it's a little like, whoa.
It's like my kitchen chairs in there. You don't know if you're gonna fall, and
Yeah, it's a sign of you don't want people to.
Nikki keeps wanting me to have a fire so she can just burn those chairs because they're pretty cheap chairs, but
That was one thing. I piled up brush out back because, you know, obviously the logging and whatever. Man, we have 2 piles out there. First pile was big, and then the second pile was like twice that size. And it's like, man, I got to burn these at some
you should have
point.
dug a hole and just lit them on fire with all this rain. It probably would have.
Dug a hole. I just pile them up. And I just light them on fire.
Well,
I don't know if
all
they'll
those
burn,
all
but-
those videos I watched of guys on excavators clearing property, like they would find a hole and burn it, and then you can cover it back up.
Yeah.
But I guess you could just do it on top.
Yeah. What gets me so to get a permit, again, another permit, another fee for burning brush, whatever, which never was a fee. You go to the fire department, it didn't cost nothing. But now you do it online, and of course it's a convenience fee of like $5.50 or whatever. Yeah. So
We're going to charge you a convenient. It's convenient for you not to have to come in here.
right, and that started with COVID, and then which I like the online thing, so I don't have to go there. Sure, but I should, and I don't know if you have to do online now, like if it's a requirement or. But it doesn't work. I've tried it 10 times. I've been like have a campfire.
You keep getting denied.
Seriously, out in my yard, I have a campfire, like my little campfire thing. I've had, I don't know, 2 or 3 of those. I'd sit there, I should probably get a permit, go online and do it because it's seasonal. You get it for the whole year. It won't do it. It won't. It keeps going back to the page 4. I've tried it on the computer, on my phone. I've tried it different times. Like,
And that's with our fire department.
no, it's the state's website.
Oh, the state.
Because it's this whole state website. You just pick the town you're in and whatever. And like I said, it's super convenient. But it doesn't give you the option to burn brush, which it's always on there, an option to burn brush. Because if it's raining, like right now, I go burn brush. I don't even think I need a permit right now because it's raining. But I don't know what's up with the site. But so I was like, oh, screw you. You show up and say anything about my freaking brush fire,
fix your
bonfire.
site.
It's not my problem, it's yours.
But that's not how it works.
No.
In this society we live in, even though they're broken, it's your fault. It always comes down on the citizen. Even with the banks. The banks mess up. Oh, sorry. You mess up, they charge you $50 fees and whatever.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Rip off.
All right, guys. I got to go to work. So if you haven't
Congratulations to Therese.
Yeah, I hope that lawsuit goes well too.
I hope it does too.
Because
Take
if
him
you look
down.
at the reports that she has, and she has all the reports from the cops, they all effing lied. I've watched the video. You've watched the video. Millions of people probably watched the video. It is nothing like what the report says. Nothing. So they all should be fired. To be honest with you,
They should. They should.
And I
They
checked
should
the-
feel guilty and be like, "Man, I'm a traitor."
and I checked the list to make sure Donna's husband wasn't on the list. He's not on the list. Whew. Yeah, so there's about 20 of them that should be fired. I think it was 20. It might even be more. So, if you haven't built your ark yet, reach out to me. We can have an ark building contest. And, because if you look at the weather, it's going to keep raining until somehow we figure out how to stop airplanes going up in the air, dropping chemicals out.
I take pictures of them all the time.
If you could just find where they're coming from, you could go to the source.
I just don't understand, because I have friends that are like, "Oh, it's BS." Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just water vapor. It's like, well, as you look up water vapor, the water vapor disappears after a few minutes. These lines hang out for hours, and you can see them spread.
Yeah, because they're dumping chemicals in the air to mess with the climate.
I think they actually admitted to that now. Like
They have.
It's like, 4 years ago, I was considered a conspiracy theorist if I had that conversation with anyone, and now they're like, oh, well, they're just, they're blocking out the sun because of solar flares.
Yeah. They'll destroy our...
Forget about solar energy real quick. Let's just block out the sun.
Basically, if you want the rain to stop, you need to immediately buy an electric car, eat bugs, and
Get rid
lab-grown
of
meat.
No gas stoves.
Yes.
No wood-burning stoves.
Right.
Just use lots of electricity that they've doubled and tripled the price over the last year and a half.
You do all that, it'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
It'll be good.
Perfect.
Good times. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And, I should go real quickly, I guess, thank our sponsors, Beer Sewer and Drain, Sunshine Realty, and Twin State Paving. And Kelvin and Nella is going to sponsor the show, so I think it's some Nella Trucking or something like that. Probably never charge these people unless I can we start doing more shows. But anyways,
Get somebody to watch us.
yeah, thank you for watching. And sorry it's been such a long time, but some of you probably aren't sorry about that. Others are. Sometimes I do shows just to piss people off.
It's good.
Whatever.
You got to goose them a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll see you next time on the Tim and Steve Show.
Of the fabric that they fabricate, they feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate. Marching on these streets of blood till I see the golden gates. Troubadour and troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpents.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you.